Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. Om Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. Om Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. Hari Om. We shall see today the essence of second chapter, which is most important, and it is actually the quintessence of whole Bhagavad Gītā. Essence, Sara of entire Bhagavad Gītā is in second chapter of Bhagavad Gītā. So we have kept a heading like this: quit not Arjuna and embrace your awesomeness. Don't quit the war. Rise up and embrace your own dignity, your own honor, your own skill, your own courage, and wage the war. In the first chapter of Bhagavad Gītā, we saw Arjuna had put many arguments that I will not fight, I don't want to fight, and how the war is dangerous and what will be the consequences of that war. And therefore he said, I will go and take sannyas and I will renounce this world, like that. Ultimately, the first chapter concluded, Soka Samvigna Manasaha. He just sat on the chariot, completely drowned in sorrow. That's how the Arjuna's picture is painted by Sanjaya by the last portion of the first chapter of Bhagavad Gītā. In the second chapter, first to 10 slokas speak about the circumstances under which Arjuna surrendered to Bhagavan Shri Krishna. First to 10 slokas. And 11th sloka of second chapter onwards, Bhagavan Shri Krishna's message begins. And the entire second chapter Gita and Gita message begins from the 11th verse of second chapter of Bhagavad Gītā. So, immediately when Arjuna was drowned and so much dejected, Bhagavan Krishna asked him a beautiful question: Kutasva kashmanamidam vishame samupasthitam. How did you get into, or from where did you get into this kind of perilous condition? Very, very disastrous it is. And it is not the right thing for a warrior, Arjuna. It is disgraceful, Arjuna. Anarya justam aswargyam akirtikaram, Arjuna. You will lose akirti also. When you lose your kirti, it is very bad name for you. Arjuna, such a great warrior, having come to the Mahabharata war, he was drowned in sorrow and he gave up the war. What a bad name it will be. And therefore Bhagavan Krishna said, so beautiful it is, sloka, Klaibhyam asmagam partha na yetatva upapajjate kshudram hrudaya daurbalyam chektva uttishta parantapa. Very beautiful thing. Therefore, give up your impotence. Klaibhyam asmagam partha. Now, it doesn't befit you. You are Arjuna, great warrior. You are a great hero of the times. And Kshudram Hrudaya Daurbalyam Chaktva would give up the weakness of the heart and embrace your awesomeness. That's the meaning. Uttishta Parantapa. Rise, wake up and take the challenge. Fight with the enemies without any problem. Therefore, when Bhagavan Krishna said, Uttishta, Arjuna said, how can I kill my gurus? Hey Arjuna, Krishna, how can I kill my gurus? And having killed my gurus, can I be happy? It is better to beg and live rather than killing my own gurus for the sake of petty, paltry kingdom. I don't want this kingdom. So therefore, Bhagavan Krishna said, Arjuna said, Krishna, I can't kill my gurus and be happy. And one more thing, Karpanya dosho hapahata swabhavaha ruchchamitvam dharma sammudha chetaha yasreyasyat nischitam bruhitan me shishyasteham shadhimam tvam prapannam. A very important sloka where Bhagavan Krishna was standing in front of Arjuna and Arjuna surrendered to Bhagavan Krishna here. Because he says, I am overpowered by pity now. Karpanya dosho apahata mera swabhav. My nature has been looted away. And overpowered by pity now. And I am confused of my duty regarding my duty now. Whether should I wage a war, should I not wage a war, or even if I wage a war, should I allow them to win over me, or should I win over them? Completely confused. Therefore, and don't tell me any alternatives, Krishna. You please tell me, yes, Sreyasyat Nishchitam Bruhi. Like an army commander commands, you please tell me what exactly is to be done by me. And that's a straight arrow pointed what instruction, that do this, don't do this, that kind of instruction I want, because I am not in a position now to think and analyze what exactly is to be done by me. And then bruhitan me nishchitam bruhitan me shishyasteham shadhimam tvam prapannam. I am your disciple, I hold your feet tightly, I surrender to you, I take refuge in you, and therefore Bhagavan Krishna, please guide me. It is only after Arjuna's surrender like this, Bhagavan Krishna started talking, giving him Gītopadesh. So, till the total surrender was there, Bhagavan Krishna kept quiet and watching Arjuna. So, therefore, in the second chapter is called as Sankhya Yoga. Through logical analysis, step by step, you will come and arrive at a truth. So, this is called Sankhyan analysis. Now, in this chapter, as I said, first to 10 verses speak about the circumstances under which Arjuna surrendered to Bhagavan Shri Krishna. That we saw. Now, from 11th to 46th verse of second chapter, Sankhya Yoga is enumerated. Gurudev, so Puja Gurudev beautifully mentions, 11th to 46th verse, it is Sankhya Yoga. And 47th to 60th verse is Karma Yoga was given. And 61 to 61st to 70th verse is Bhakti Yoga, and 71st and 72nd slokas contain Sannyasa Yoga or path of renunciation. This is how the second chapter is tabulated, divided, and therefore second chapter infused into Arjuna all yogas and made the patient jump out of operation table and immediately started inquiring about the truth, and he was brought from the operation table to a level of dialogue. That's the beauty of Bhagavan Krishna's teaching, where in second chapter the patient got up and started engaging himself in a dialogue with Bhagavan Shri Krishna. Now, in essence of first 10 slokas, we saw the surrender, the circumstances under which. And Sankhya Yoga is a beautiful thing. And it's a high philosophy was told to Arjuna in the second chapter from 11th to 46th verse. What is that now? First of all, Bhagavad Gītā Upadesh begins like this. Ashotyananvashochastvam prajñavadamscha bhashase gatasuna gatasumscha nanushocanti panditaha. Very beautiful shloka it is. Ashotyananvashochastvam. You are wailing for all those things for which you should not cry, you should not wail. And prajñavadamscha bhashase. And you are talking like a wise man. And who is the wise man actually? Wise man is the one who never grieves neither for the living nor for the dead. Nanushocanti panditaha. It's a very beautiful definition. Who is the wise man? The one who doesn't wail, doesn't cry. Therefore, second chapter, the Gītā Upadesha, the instruction of Bhagavad Gītā begins with wonderful word called Shok mat karo, don't cry. And last sloka of Bhagavad Gītā, Charama Shloka, also Bhagavan Krishna speaks, Ma Shuchaha. Ultimately he says, Sarvadharman Parityajya, Mamekam Sharanam Vraja, Aham Tva Sarva Papebhyaha, Moksha Ishyami, Ma Shuchaha. Again, don't cry. So Mahatmas have said, it is to begin, Bhagavan Krishna began his speech, don't wail, ends with his lecture, don't wail. Therefore, Bhagavan Krishna's central message of Bhagavad Gītā is, come what may, you are not supposed to wail. You are not supposed to show any sorrow. That is the courage Bhagavan Sri Krishna gave to all of us. Of course, we have to practice to live up to that particular state. So therefore, why should I not grieve? It's because they will always be there. All these people whom you think that they will die in the war, they are always eternal. There is no death for them. They were there, they are there, they will be there. Therefore, don't wail for them. And remember, what is life? Matra sparshastu kaunteya sitoshta sukha dukkadaha agama apayano anityaha tan titikshasva bharata. Bhagavan Krishna says, whenever the sense organs come in contact with sense objects, there will be sparks arises, and these sparks either give you sukham, happiness, or dukkham, sorrow. These things are unavoidable. When we are living in the world outside, interacting with the worldly objects, things and beings, these will be there. Either sorrow or happiness, joys and sorrows are unavoidable, because the contact between the sense organs and their objects produce sukham and dukkham. Then what should we do? Endure them courageously, endure them bravely, is the message of Bhagavan Shri Krishna to Arjuna. Therefore, you cannot say, complain that there will not be any dukkham in the sorrow in the world, in the life. Sorrows will be there and joys will be there, but they come and go. So sorrows are there. We are, of course, it's unpleasant experience for us. When joys come and joys go, again we'll be sorrowful. Ultimately, the net result is man is always under stress, always suffering, suffering, suffering. Joys visit and go, and any joy goes away, again it gives me a great suffering. Therefore, Bhagavan Krishna says, one for whom the pleasure and pain are same, he realizes the truth. The one to whom the both pleasure and pain are same, he alone is capable, fit enough to know the truth. And who are you then? Who is the self actually? Bhagavan Krishna told, na jayate, na mriyate, na kadachit, nayam bhutva bhavitavanam bhuyah, ajo nityasya asvatoyam purana, na hanyate hanyamane sharire. Wonderful slokas. You are immortal. It has no birth. It has no death. It is unborn, eternal, ancient, and it does not die when body dies. So why do you cry? Why do you cry? In one word, we can say that Bhagavan Shri Krishna assured Arjuna that the self is immortal. Come what may, you are indestructible. Nobody can destroy it. Nothing can destroy it. And no power in the creation can destroy it. So why do you cry? Why do you cry? And what is that? All beings, they come in between and they go. Avyaktadini bhutani, Vyaktamadhyani bharata, Avyaktanidhananyeva tatraka paridevana. Why unnecessarily where there is? Because all the beings are unmanifest. They manifest for some time in between, and again they go to unmanifest condition. So why should you wail? Why should you cry? There is nothing to cry. Therefore, thus Bhagavan Shri Krishna started speaking very high philosophy of the truth to Arjuna. An interesting thing, from 25th to 30th verse of second chapter, Bhagavan Krishna gives various viewpoints. And he tells Arjuna that if from any point of view you look into this, your problem, you cannot justify your sorrow. So, any point, truth is immortal. Therefore, from the standpoint of truth, the self, you cannot wail. It is indestructible. It is always there. So, you should not grieve. So, from dharma point of view, you should not grieve. Why? It's a great opportunity for Kshatriyas to get such a war. Duty point of view, you should not cry. It's a duty has come to you. From the eternal spirit of view, you cannot cry. Or you consider that him as constantly born and constantly dying. Even then you are not supposed to cry, because it is the nature of the ephemeral nature then. If the nature of the body is they take birth and they die, and what is born must die. Therefore, from the standpoint of physical reality, you cannot justify the sorrow. It is the nature of the physical bodies. And from the standpoint of truth also, you cannot justify sorrow. From the standpoint of dharma also, you cannot justify sorrow. From the duty point of view, and from your standpoint of your dharma as a kshatriya also, you cannot wail. Therefore, Bhagavan Krishna says, Natvam shochitum arhasi, naivam shochitum arhasi, meaning you cannot cry, you cannot cry, you cannot cry. Very beautiful message. That from any point of view, you cannot justify your sorrows. Therefore, from the point of body also, that which is born will die. Therefore, you need not cry. That is the nature of the physical body. So, and you got such a great chance for you to evolve further. Because war is a chance for Kshatriya. So if you win, you will enjoy the earth. If you die in the war, you will enjoy the heaven. Either way, you are benefited. Very beautiful thing. Therefore, Bhagavan Krishna pumped into Arjuna, infused a lot of enthusiasm, courage, and divine wisdom. And he was shaken up. And so that, he could come out of this deep slumber of fear, etc., whatever it is, he just was woken up. That is the message of Bhagavan Shri Krishna in Sankhya Yoga portion of 2nd chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Afterwards, very famous Karma Yoga begins. And you know the famous sloka, Karma Yoga sloka, Karmanyevadhikaraste, ma paleshu kadachana, ma karma palaheturbhohu, ma te sangahastu akarmani. No, this is the Karma Yoga Chatussutri. We will not go into depth into of that, but this is 47th sloka. So 47th to 60th, as per Puja Gurudev, it all speaks about Karma Yoga. Now, in Karma Yoga, and very end, what is that? Your adhikari, your eligibility is only in doing the work in the present, not to think of the results which will come in future. Now that's a lot of people will argue with this and all, but there's no time. A simple thing I'll tell you, that we have a right to do, because whatever action we do, we can do only in the present. Number one. So the result will come in future. Second point. So now result is directly depending upon, first of all, your efforts, plus some other factors also are involved. So what is that result? We think that result is depending upon my own effort. No. So my effort plus many other components over which I don't have control. Like many things we plan, certain things will happen, natural calamities can happen, or ill health can happen. Something can disturb entire my plan. I have prepared, but something else happened, so that I could not do the work. Result is not come. So there are many components. So my effort plus A plus B plus C, so many components are there. In any one of these components also are not properly working, the result won't come. And these components are not in our hand, in our control. Then what is in our control? The component of our hard work. So Bhagavan Krishna says, when you are doing hard work in the present, if your mind is preoccupied with the result which is yet to come in future, that too which is the result of your hard work in the present, so mind get dissipated, and 80 to 90% of mind is over anxious about the fruits which are yet to come in future. Then what happens? You are not able to focus 100% in the present, and because of the lack of focus of 100%, your investment, your capital itself is not proper, and therefore 10% or 15% effort you put in the present and we expect 100% result, it is not possible. Even though you put 100% result, certain things are not happening, which is destiny, which is beyond our control. So the component which is under our control is your own hard work. So karmani eva pradha alone, karma in action alone, you have eligibility, you are adhikari to do in the present. Kadachana, never ever the fruit. This commentary is written by many Mahatmas in different dimensions. Very beautiful it is. Kadachana means never. Even though you get the fruit, you have also a social responsibility, also certain things to share the joy, to share the good things. So many Mahatmas comment from different dimensions. So kadachana phalam is what you call karmani vadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Not never ever you can have control over your fruit, because that is yet to come in future. Therefore, Bhagavan Krishna says that how should I work in the world? Yogastha kuru karmani sangam chaktva dhananjaya siddha siddhyo samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. So beautiful thing. So ultimately, be balanced in success and failure, and evenness of mind, samatvam, evenness of mind is called yoga. So rooted in yoga sthiti, work in the world outside. Rooted in your own self, work in the world outside. And Bhagavan Krishna gave so beautiful in this Buddhi Yoga. What is Buddhi Yoga? Krishna advised Arjuna to follow Buddhi Yoga. So, Duren Havaram Karma Buddhi Yoga Dhananjaya Buddhau Sharanam Anvicha Krupana Palahetavaha. So, what is Buddhi Yoga? Devotion through work. So, work done by the mind, undisturbed by the anxieties of the future, and such is the Buddhi Yoga. So, Buddhi is yoked to goal and mind is undisturbed. So, this yoga is called devotion through work, or devotion kind of a complete surrender and undisturbed by mind, undisturbed by the anxieties of future. Such is called Buddhi Yoga. Forgetting about everything and remembering only the goal in Buddhi. So therefore, that Buddhi Yoga is far superior. So being steady in your own conviction is very important. Be steady in your conviction. And therefore, buddha yukto jahatiha ube sukrata duskrute and tasmat yogaya yujjhasva. Yoga. So, yoga karmasu kaushalam and skill in action is yoga. Dexterity in action is yoga. When you are buddhi yuktaha, when you follow this buddhi yoga, a wise thing, wisdom you bring into your being, then what happens? Who is a wise man? Jahatiha ubhe sukrata duskrute. Good and bad, everything is given up. Sukrutam, duskrutam, both are given up. Therefore, Bhagavan Krishna so far had tried to keep Arjuna in a state of supreme understanding of knowledge divine. So, divine knowledge is there and action is your responsibility. You must act. And therefore, establish in your own self, this is the highest thing, rooted there in yoga sthiti and work in the world outside. Thus, Bhagavan Krishna gave the quintessence or essence of karma yoga. The whole life is nothing but service to the Lord. And therefore, in this through yoga, Sankhya and karma, Arjuna was told the higher nature of self, and with remembering that supreme self, the supreme nature, higher nature of yourself, how to work in the world outside has been told. Now comes the in 54 to 72 verses also is very, very interesting. And this is what Bhagavan Krishna speaks about Sita Prajna Lakshanas. You know, when you said about the man of realization, Arjuna became curious. How does he move? How does he walk? Meaning, how does he move among the different sense objects and things and beings in the world outside? Right? And what is his state? When he is in himself, what is the condition of that samadhi sthiti? When he is absorbed in himself, what is that state called? And how does he move? Because these two are contrast. They very contradictory for him. Because how can such a man of wisdom move in this world? Duality world, illusory world. So, how does he respond to challenges? How does he react to the world around? So, he is very curious, Arjuna became curious about such a man of wisdom, such a man of realized person. So, therefore, when Arjuna asked this question, Sita prajnasya ka bhasha, samadhistasya keshava, sitadik kim prabhasheta, kimasita vrajeta kim. Bhagavan Krishna beautifully gives in 18 slokas, very, very famous portion in 2nd chapter. What is that he speaks? He speaks about that, prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan. When all desires are given up. And what we think is, I wanted to be happy means what? I desire, I exert, I put my effort, I procure and be happy. Desire, effort, procure, be happy. Desire, effort, procure and be happy. This is only we know. Bhagavan Krishna says, one who had given up all desires, then how can he be happy? He is Atmanayeva Atmana Tushtaha. He is happy within himself, by himself, all by himself, quite contented. In the self, by the self. Such a person is called man of steady wisdom. He is Purna. He within himself. He doesn't want anything, no desires, yet he is full in himself. Such a man is called Sita Prajna. And another important sloka, Dukkheshu Anudvigramanaha. He is not shaken in adversities. He is not disturbed because he is rooted in that supreme consciousness. He is not shaken in adversities, and when prosperity comes, he does not hanker after pleasures. Sukeshu Anudvigna, Dukkheshu Anudvigramanaha, Sukeshu Vigataspruhaha. He doesn't, there is no longing to enjoy different pleasures, and freed from attachment, raga, dvesha. So, fear, attachment, fear and anger. Think of beautiful thing. So, freed from attachment, freed from fear, freed from anger, he is called a man of steady wisdom. Therefore, now, in this way, Bhagavan Shri Krishna started explaining, and in the 62nd and 63rd verses are very important. Bhagavan Krishna speaks the ladder of fall. How does a man fall? How does a person fall? So he says, Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsaha. When you continuously think about the objects, there is a Sangateshu Pajayate, attachment is grown. Sangat Sanjayate Kamaha, then desire is born. Kamat krodho vijayate, because most of the desires are not fulfilled. So we end up in angry only. If desires are fulfilled, we become greedy, lobhi, and most of the desires, actually plenty of desires we have, 99.99% of desires are not fulfilled. So therefore, invariably our anger, our desire leads to anger only, because anything obstructs between me and my object of love, whatever I wanted, that becomes a very reaction towards that obstacle is called anger. And kamat krodho vijayate. So anger comes. Krodho vijayate. Krodhat bhavat sammoha. When you become angry, we get deluded, and out of delusion, we forget who we are, what is our culture, what is our family, what is our background. I'm a human being. Everything is forgotten. Mridibramshat buddhinashaha. Buddhi works only on memory. So when memory is lost, discrimination also is lost. When discrimination is lost, a man perishes. Therefore, how to live in this world? How to avoid this fall? Raga dvesha vayukta istu vishayanindriyaischaran. So freed from raga and dvesha, attachment and hatred, moving among the sense objects of the world, they will not create any poison in you. They don't disturb you. You can freely move in this world and be happy always. Undisturbed, untouched by the presence or absence of the objects. Therefore, Atmavashya, a man of sense control, man of self-control, a self-controlled person moves in this world around without any attachments and hatred. So, such a person, prasadam adhigacchati, he attains peace. Why? He is not disturbed by anything. He is peace. And prasade sarvadukhanam hanirasyopajayate. And when the prasada, when the peace is attained, it destroys all pains. There is no pain. So, intellect of such a tranquil-minded person, it soon becomes steady. See, prasanna chetasohi ashuhu buddhihi paryavatishtate. Beautiful. Buddhi becomes steady from all directions, all the time, always, sarvakal, sarvavasteshu, everywhere, every time, buddhi becomes steady. And that state is so beautiful state Bhagavan Krishna spoke about in Bhagavad Gītā. So therefore, how to attain peace? Give up raga and dvesha, then move in the world outside. Objects won't tempt us, sense objects, and like grown-up people go to a toy shop. We are not attracted by toys. We can enjoy the toys, we can appreciate the technology, we can appreciate the various toys, but we come out happily without a pie in the pocket. We can enter into the shop, I can come out with a big smile. Why? We are not attached. Neither we have raga nor dvesha in toy shop. In 71st and 72nd shlokas, so beautiful it is. Ultimately, Bhagavan Krishna speaks about Vihaya kaman yas sarvan puman charati nuspruhaha nirmamo nirahankaraha and sashanti madhigacchati. Therefore, abandon all desires. Vihaya kaman sarvan vihaya, having abandoned all desires, moving without spruha, longing for the objects, without ego and ahamta and mamata, without ego, nirahankaraha, nirmamaha, without minus, without I-ness and mind feeling, minus, M-Y-N-E-S-S, minus, such a person attains peace. Therefore, sannyasa, renunciation alone is peace, gives you peace, because you are not attached to anything, and that gives you peace. And such a Brahmi sthiti, that state of realization, very important. Esha Brahmi sthiti partha nayanam prapya vimuhyati. Again, once you attain this state, you will never be deluded again. Very wonderful thing. You will not fall back into BMI identification. Brahma Nirvanam Ruchyati. So you will attain that Brahma Nirvanam, and that is the end of the journey called evolution. But human evolution goes, and when we merge into our own self, establish ourselves in our own self, that is what Bhagavan Krishna pointed out, goal of humanity and every human being. So this state, Arjuna, this is the final state. So be there and do your duties in the world outside. That won't harm you. And with the more freshness, you come back into this world and then start working. So Arjuna asks a question in 3rd chapter beginning about based on 2nd chapter of Bhagavan Krishna's teaching only. And that we will see in the tomorrow, I think, the 3rd chapter will continue. Thank you very much. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय।